Hello and welcome back to Facts Repo, your home for the most captivating stories from history and science. Today, we're diving into a tale so strange, it sounds like something out of a science fiction novel. It involves one of history's greatest minds, a stolen organ, and a decades-long, cross-country journey in the back of a car. This is the disturbing truth behind why they stole Albert Einstein's brain. Before we begin, if you love uncovering the hidden and bizarre stories behind famous events, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You won't want to miss what we have coming up. Albert Einstein, the man who redefined our understanding of the universe, had a very clear wish for his death. He wanted to be cremated, and his ashes scattered in secret. He detested the idea of being idolized and didn't want his home or grave to become a pilgrimage site for worshippers. On April 18, 1955, at Princeton Hospital in New Jersey, Einstein passed away from a burst aortic aneurysm at the age of 76. His final wishes seemed simple and straightforward, a humble end for a titan of science. But one man had other plans. Dr. Thomas Harvey, the pathologist on duty that night, saw an opportunity he couldn't resist. Believing he held the key to unlocking the secrets of genius, he made a fateful decision without any permission or legal authority. Instead of preparing the body for cremation as instructed, Harvey performed an autopsy and carefully removed Albert Einstein's brain. He saw it not as a part of a person, but as a priceless scientific artifact, an object that could potentially explain the origins of extraordinary intelligence. Harvey placed the brain in a jar of formalin and took it home, essentially stealing it. He believed he was acting in the name of science, a noble pursuit that, in his mind, trumped the final wishes of the deceased and the feelings of his family. When Einstein's family found out, they were, understandably, outraged. His son, Hans Albert, was furious at the violation. But Harvey was surprisingly persuasive. He managed to convince Hans Albert to grant him reluctant, retroactive permission to study the brain, promising that any research would be for the good of science and published in reputable journals. With this fragile truce in place, Harvey's strange journey began. He photographed the brain from every angle, and then, with painstaking care, he dissected it into 240 individual blocks, each preserved and catalogued. He created 12 sets of around 200 slides containing tissue samples, which he planned to send to the world's top neuropathologists. The stage was set for a groundbreaking collaborative study into the anatomy of genius. However, the grand scientific project Harvey envisioned never truly materialized. His colleagues at Princeton were uncomfortable with his actions and the media attention it brought. Soon, the hospital demanded he turn over the brain or leave. Harvey chose to leave, taking the brain with him. For the next 4 decades, Einstein's brain became Harvey's personal, portable obsession. He moved from state to state, from job to job, and through 2 divorces, all while keeping the brain hidden away. It was stored in the most bizarre places. For years, the carefully sectioned pieces of one of history's greatest minds sat in a simple cider box, stashed under a beer cooler in his office. It was a secret he guarded closely, a treasure only he possessed. Years turned into decades, and the promised scientific papers were never published. The world's leading neurologists weren't exactly lining up to collaborate with the now obscure pathologist. The story of the stolen brain faded into a strange, almost mythical footnote in history. Then, in 1978, a young journalist named Stephen Levy, working for the New Jersey Monthly, became fascinated by the rumor. He was determined to find out what had happened to Einstein's brain. After some impressive detective work, he tracked Dr. Harvey down in Wichita, Kansas. When Levy asked him if he still had the brain, Harvey calmly walked over to a cardboard box labeled Costa Cider and pulled out 2 large glass jars. Inside, floating in a yellowish preservative, were the carefully sectioned blocks of Albert Einstein's brain. The myth was real. Levy's subsequent article brought the story roaring back into the public eye. The bizarre odyssey of the brain was revealed, and suddenly, scientists were interested again. Harvey, now in his later years, began to receive requests for samples from researchers who had heard the incredible story. One of the first significant studies was published in 1985 by Marion Diamond at the University of California, Berkeley. Harvey drove across the country in his Buick Skylark, with the brain in a Tupperware container in the trunk, to personally deliver the samples. Diamond's research focused on glial cells, the support cells in the brain that nourish and protect neurons. She found that a specific area of Einstein's brain, the left inferior parietal lobe, had a significantly higher ratio of glial cells to neurons compared to the control brains of 11 other men. This region is associated with processing visual information, mathematical thought, and spatial reasoning. The finding was sensational. It seemed to be the first physical proof that Einstein's brain was, in fact, different. Another study in 1996 pointed to a higher density of neurons in certain areas of his cerebral cortex. It suggested his brain was more efficient, packing more processing power into the same amount of space. Perhaps the most famous study came in 1999 from a team at McMaster University in Canada. They worked from the photographs Harvey had taken before the brain was dissected. They noticed something unique about its overall shape. Einstein's brain appeared to be missing a specific wrinkle, or groove, called the Sylvian fissure. Because this fissure was partially absent, it may have allowed the neurons in that region to communicate more effectively. The parietal lobes, crucial for mathematical and spatial abilities, were also 15% wider than average. These studies seem to confirm what Harvey had believed all along, that the secret to Einstein's genius could be found within the physical structure of his brain. The media ran with these stories, painting a picture of a uniquely wired superbrain. But the story isn't that simple. Many scientists today are highly skeptical of these findings. They argue that the studies were flawed from the very beginning. For one, the sample size was just one person, Einstein. It's impossible to draw broad conclusions from a single brain. Furthermore, the control groups used for comparison were often problematic. How do you find a normal brain to compare to Einstein's? The brains used in Diamond's study, for example, were from a group of much younger men whose cause of death and life history were not fully known. Critics also point out the problem of correlation versus causation. Was Einstein a genius because his brain had these features, or did his brain develop these features because he spent a lifetime engaged in intense mental activity? We simply don't know. It's also possible that the differences observed were just normal variations, like having a slightly larger nose or feet. The intense search for what made Einstein's brain special may have led researchers to see significance where there was none. Ultimately, the scientific quest to find the source of genius in the folds of Einstein's brain remains inconclusive. It's a collection of tantalizing clues and fascinating theories, but no definitive proof. The brain itself offers no simple answer. This brings us to the profound ethical questions at the heart of this story. Did Thomas Harvey have any right to take the brain? Almost everyone agrees he did not. It was a violation of Einstein's explicit wishes and a deep betrayal of the trust placed in him as a doctor. Does the potential for scientific discovery ever outweigh a person's autonomy over their own body, even after death? This case forces us to confront the blurry line between scientific curiosity and respect for the individual. In 1998, nearing the end of his own life, Thomas Harvey finally returned what was left of the brain. He drove back to Princeton and gave the remaining pieces to Dr. Elliot Krauss, the new chief pathologist at the same hospital where the journey had begun 43 years earlier. Today, what remains of Albert Einstein's brain rests at the Penn Medicine Princeton Medical Center. The slides and blocks are available to qualified researchers by request, though they are rarely studied now. The bizarre, 40-year road trip was finally over. The story of Einstein's brain is a captivating, strange, and unsettling saga. It's a tale about obsession, the elusive nature of genius, and the ethical dilemmas that arise when the quest for knowledge clashes with human dignity. Was Einstein's brain truly special? Perhaps. But the real lesson might be that a person's genius isn't just a matter of tissue and neurons. It's a product of their curiosity, their imagination, and the unique way they see the world, qualities that can never be preserved in a jar. What do you think? Was Harvey's theft a necessary evil for science, or an unforgivable act of disrespect? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, Please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to Facts Repo for more deep dives into the stories you thought you knew. We'll see you next time.